are you? It is that time. It is Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. East Coast Time, 5:30 p.m. for my West Coast Pacific friends. And we are here with Can You Believe It? Episode number 81. I cannot believe it. What's up, Audra? I'm going to get you here in a second. See, thanks for always supporting. Episode number 81. I cannot believe it. I started this 2 years ago. 2 years it'll be in May. And we have been going strong ever since. So just as a reminder, if you know someone who should be on the show, please make sure you get a hold of me and connect us. I would love to have them on the show. Everyone has a story, even yourself. So if you're watching this, you should be on the show. And if you know someone who should be on the show, which I know you do, please make sure you get a hold of me. You can text message me, send us a what do you call that? A group text or friend text, or you can DM us, direct message us via Instagram. Just hook it up. This show is all by word of mouth. It's for you, by you. It's all by word of mouth. It's love, it's connection, it's networking. It's become so many things over the past 2 years. I just can't believe it. So please let me know if you'd like to be on the show, or if you know someone who would like to be on the show. Please also let me know. I have just opened up and I had my first sponsor. So please let me know if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show. I would love for you to sponsor the show. So what happens when you sponsor the show is that, of course, you'll get some shout outs on the show. And you'll also get some ability to promote your small business or big business or service that day of the show. A sponsorship is $25, and that's all it is $25. You get some shout outs on the show, and the show is kind of, sponsored, as I say, by you. But most importantly, what that money goes to, what the $25 goes to, is 100% of that $25 is going to go to help heart disease and cancer patients in need. As you know, that is something that's near and dear to me, and so I am giving back in that way. So 100% of that $25 does go to a heart disease cancer patient in need, paying off a bill. It's no 501c3. It's just good old-fashioned kindness and love. So please make sure you get a hold of me if you would like to sponsor the show. I would love to have you sponsor the show. It's something new I'm doing. And please make sure you get a hold of me. We have heart disease and cancer patients that have astronomical bills, and that's where it goes to. It goes to help them pay their bills. So again, if you'd like to sponsor a show, it's $25 per sponsorship, and I would love to have you as a sponsor and or a guest or both. Okay, so this is episode, again, number 81 of the TerranLamp Show. Let's get Miss Audra in. Hello, Miss Audra. Oh my goodness. Oh, beautiful friend. I wish you were here.
I know. I just want to hug you, beautiful friend. It's so good to see you.
Let me turn my volume up. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Even more fantastic because I get to see your face. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I know. I just want to come through the phone, come through IG and give you a big hug. And just like, oh my goodness. So guys, Audra and I go way back. She's going to tell you her journey, but just so you know, Audra and I go, man, we had some,
How can we be this old to go back as far as we do? I don't really get that part.
I feel like we're still there. We're still like in that age,
Yes, me too.
But you look like you're in that age still.
Well,
so.
you look, thank you. You look, holy cow.
Please make sure you give big hugs to your family too, by the way.
I will, for sure. And I just want to say, I'm so honored to be a part of this. What you're doing with this show is just amazing. And the love and the connection just pours through my phone every week when I watch. It's awesome.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to receive that because it's just been such a blessing. I didn't know what was going to happen when I started it, so I'm so thankful for what it's doing and for how it's connecting others. So I want to say thank you to you for just, like I said, being on the show, supporting, and thank you, C. I can see my friend C on there. Thank you so much for just supporting and loving the show and giving back, because it's all by word of mouth and it's all by everyone pouring in love. So I just appreciate it. But let's get started because you have a lot to share. You have a great story, blessings upon blessings. I will take them, right, Audra?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Tell us your journey. Tell us your story.
Well, gosh, a lot has happened in the last few years, and perhaps the best way to tell the story is that, I had the great honor to be a part of a book collaboration last year. And I think I was telling you about this last time we talked, the Behind the Power, the amazing, amazing Allison Roberts brought together incredible women. I was just so honored to be a part of this. And we all contributed a chapter into this book. And the main point of the book is to let people know they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
As we all went through some hard times, and so many people are going through some hard times with the pandemic, and just, maybe they had something they were dealing with already, and then the pandemic just, makes it even more stressful and more overwhelming, and you can start to feel like you're alone. And so in my particular chapter, I did share that it's permission to shine. And, it's a lot to go into, but to kind of explain it quickly is that my whole life I was living with these blind spots that I wasn't aware of, because I lost my dad to suicide when I was 7 years old. And in those moments, when you're a child, you make up stories to make sense of your world, and you make up rules. Like, if I live this way, I'll be safe.
Yeah.
And it was just so, and back then, that was a long time ago, Taryn. Long time ago. Back then, people really didn't go to therapy. We just, people didn't. So my family was amazing at, supporting me as best as they could, but they didn't know what was going on in my little mind. So, our little 5-year-old selves, my little 7-year-old self, made up things. And I made up that everyone around me has to be happy. I have to make sure that everyone around me is happy. And of course, I love making people happy. I do. But it carried over to an unhealthy place where I would not pay attention to my own feelings at all. And, that led me down a road to being a people pleaser. And we lose ourselves, right, when we're a people pleaser. And so anyway, that led me down a road of depression and anxiety at different points in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was able to work with some amazing therapists and some phenomenal coaches. And now my life is just beyond my wildest dreams as far as joy and love and the connection that I feel mm-hmm. to people and to the world. And so that's in that chapter. And I also talk about, it comes across in my coaching business. I have a coaching business now. And when I knew you, I had already had a personal training business. So I've always loved coaching. I've always loved helping people feel their best, right? And what I noticed back then when I was doing the coaching is that I had an intuitive ability that came across. And I think we all have that, we all have that. But I had a certain gift that because I would go to my clients' homes, and you know how that is, Taryn. We talk about everything, things mm-hmm. come up because it's all connected, right? It's all connected. And so people would be talking to me, and I would have something come through for them. And I was even like, wow, that was really powerful, because it didn't for me, it came from a higher place. Mm-hmm. And so that's always been a part of me, and I got away from it for a while. And then in the last few years, God's like, hello, it's time. So I started my coaching business again, and I'm so loving it. And I've been doing it for about a year, and it's really growing. And it's fantastic. So, and I've been talking a while, so you stop me if you want to, but I did want to tell you that the Elevate 11 class is coming up Friday, and I'm super excited about that because it's all the stuff that we're talking about, and this is a 11 tools for creating love, success, and joy right away in your life. So that's on Friday. So I want to make sure that I let people know about that, and the link is in my bio. It's a free webinar, Elevate 11. So
I want to get to Elevate 11, but I want to ask you.
Yeah.
About this, like, and you kind of mentioned it when you had, things coming to you and realized, man, this is a gift, right?
Yeah.
I mean, were you just totally like, I know this, or were you like, I'm shocked?
That's such a great question.
You know, but I would be like, wow, God, like, whoa, you know, what do I do with it? Or were you like, you know what, I've known this and I'm going to run with it?
Well, I got to start answering that from when I was a little girl, because what
Uh-huh.
happened, I have two older brothers and two older stepbrothers, and they're quite a bit older. And so, and they're really
Hey,
nice.
just saying hello to people join.
Oh,
Go
hello.
ahead.
They are really nice to me now, but but they didn't really want to hang out with me when I was little a lot. So I spent a lot of time playing in my room alone, you know. And I actually taught myself to, because I had my children's Bible that I would read, and I taught myself to meditate accidentally. So that just happened, and so I always felt this connection, and it was kind of like I felt the call in my heart, but I didn't know how to articulate it.
Oh, okay.
You see, and then I also had, before I knew you, there was a time that I pursued acting, and I went through a difficult time, and that's in the chapter. And you know, it just, you listen to the voices of the world so much, and sometimes, even though you know the gift is there,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you have to be really quiet to hear it. You hear the voice that
Mm-hmm.
leads you in the direction of using that gift.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about self-care and taking the time to tap into your intuition,
Mm-hmm.
because the voices are so loud, especially if you're on that path of being a people pleaser. The other voices are really loud because you're not taking that time to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, I knew, but I didn't really have the courage to pursue it
Mm-hmm.
and the energy to pursue it because I wasn't tapping in.
Yeah. So, hi, Yash. So that, I mean, I bet there's a lot of us like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you're saying that, because I feel like I could see that, right? It's a little bit of both. It's like, you know, but what do you do with it? And how do you take the power? How do you leash it, right? Or unleash it,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Well, me, what made all the difference was coaches, because I've worked with brilliant coaches, starting with Candace Silvers, Trina
Mhm.
Hart, and my coach now is Allison Roberts, and she's fantastic. And they all said to me, "Why aren't you coaching?
Mhm.
Why aren't you using your gift?" You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, you're kind of like, and so then it just took me, you know, I had to do the inner work. And the thing is, and this is what we do in my coaching practice, we can't see our own blind spots.
Mhm.
So I was living in that safe little box, and I say safe because it wasn't safe. I was suffocating, but I
Yeah.
didn't, you know. But we can't see our blind spots. So I think God designed it that way. We need each other to see.
Yeah.
And so it took and like I said, I had great, I had a really gifted therapist that I worked with. So I definitely think there's a place for that. But for me, the coaching was what helped me tap into using my gifts in the world.
So it's interesting because, you know, I'm thinking back to the you know, when we were, you know, footloose and fancy free. And if you would have told me then that you were going to do this now, I actually could have seen you doing this. We
And
just didn't know exactly what it was then. I can, because your voice, the way you've always approached people and approached things, I definitely uh, see that in you. So give Yash a summary again. Yash is asking, what are we talking about? Give him a summary of what's.
oh, okay. So let's see. So I'm an intuitive coach, and Taryn asked the great question of, when I realized I had that gift, was I kind of shocked, or did I know all along? And I really knew it from the time I was a little girl, but I didn't have the courage to stand in it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like,
and it's interesting to know we didn't know what it was back then. You know what I mean?
right.
We didn't know how to name it or call it, but I can totally look back and say, yep, that makes sense. That's a perfect direction for Audra to go. You
And
know?
by the way, same with you, Taryn. You're doing this phenomenal show and touching so many lives. And yep, that's the Taryn I knew back then.
So it's just interesting how we put it together. Now I can imagine there's a lot of people out there that, like you said, have these voices, right? They're here, there's here, and they're over here trying to please people, and they're over here with the chatter, and then their one voice is saying, "Man, I got something that I got to tap into," right? And I know that's part of maybe some of the work that you do, helping us tap in. But what advice would you give to someone who kind of has these, different one? It's like a tearing on this shoulder and a tearing on that shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah.
What, like, maybe, quick tips would you give somebody who's kind of trying to figure out how to tap into that intuition, or they might hear it and not know what to do with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a couple of different things. So one is pay attention to the voice that you can feel excited by what it says, but it doesn't make you feel like completely stressed out. Like if it's telling you to do something and you get excited, that's a good sign. If it's telling you to do something and you get excited, but immediately have like all the things that could go wrong, and then it shuts you down. It's because you got to listen to your gut,
Yeah.
right? But even then, even have you noticed this? Even when you get a bad feeling about something, it's kind of calm. It's sort of like, nope, not going to do that. Like, nope, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's always a more peaceful voice. That's the one you want to listen to, the more peaceful voice.
Mm-hmm.
One that's tearing you down, don't listen to that. But what's interesting, and we work on this too, and as all of, like, I remember in my 20s, one of my coaches said, that voice doesn't want you to do anything different because that's scary, and that's we talked about that with Allison too.
So, hey, Allison. I don't know. Oh, Ashley.
Yes, yeah. But I was just saying, with my coach Allison Roberts, she talks about that too. But so it's just, that's one of the fascinating things we focus on in the coaching is, wow, well, I hear this one voice that tells me I should go for it, but then this other voice is saying all the things that could go wrong. And some of that, just pay attention to that. If it's a calm feeling in your gut and it's like you just feel it, it's like a higher wisdom saying that's not a good idea. But it's tricky sometimes because there will be a voice
asking. So Yash is asking, can those two voices ever agree on one thing instead of being in conflict?
Oh no, they can totally agree sometimes, especially like if it's something super fun and also good.
So they can agree. They can come to one agreement. It doesn't have to be one is always the wrong one and one is always the right one.
Exactly. That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can, and you can get that voice on board too. Like if you, let's just use the example of you want to work out and you can't get yourself to work out consistently. Right? We're very familiar with that because we are trainers, right? So if you start giving that voice that's like, oh, I just want to stay in bed. What's the point? It's going to take so long. Then you tap into what makes that voice happy. Like, that you can go shopping for new clothes, use little things to get it on board. Right.
Yeah.
And then it's on your team. It's working with you.
Okay. You're welcome, Yash. You're welcome. He says, thanks for answering.
Oh, welcome. Thanks for asking the question.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I like what you said. Get the both of the voices on your team.
Yeah.
Like, on the same side of the table, as they say, right?
Absolutely.
And I think it's just interesting. I wonder how many of us don't listen to our intuition.
Oh, I think a lot. And, for years, I didn't listen. And I even knew, mine was really, really strong. And that's part of the reason I think I went into that deep depression, because I was trying to please, and especially during the time that I was pursuing acting. I loved the craft, but trying to get a job, it was hard. And I took everything so personally because I was trying to please everyone.
Yeah.
And, and so when you're that stressed, you're not relaxed, so you can't hear your intuition. You must relax to hear your intuition, I believe.
You're not relaxed. You hear whatever voice is probably like the ragey voice.
Exactly. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And you hear, the, oh my gosh, I have 5 million things to do. And so who can relax when you're hearing that all day long?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's true. Many don't listen to their gut and let the environment and others decide for them.
Yes. Yes. And another thing that I've noticed is sometimes we don't listen to our intuition because we're afraid that the people around us won't like it if we pursue a new passion, for example.
Mm.
And most of the time I've noticed we have the whole conversation in our head with them before we ever actually talk to them about it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? We just
Mhm.
assume we know what they're going to say.
And we've already got it answered, so we don't listen.
Like, oh, they won't be happy with that, so I'm not gonna do it. Like you want to switch jobs and you
Yeah.
think your spouse is just gonna just freak out,
Mhm.
but you never have the conversation to find out. And then your intuition keeps pushing you, like in a nice way, not pushy, but just like, hey, I think your calling is over here. And you're just like, oh, I can't even consider that because, well, then meanwhile, you may become so miserable that affects your marriage.
Yeah, Yash agrees. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? Welcome to the show. Yeah, I think that's so interesting, just how you really have to, I like that you said you have to relax to get to that. And that's so hard for a lot of us to do, right? Even if we know your intuition is telling you what to do, it's so hard to get there. And I guess, that's part of your work as well. Okay, we got we're listening, but what are we doing about it? It's like we're listening and we hear you and we hear our gut saying or our intuition saying we should do something, but now we got to take some action.
Yeah.
And that sounds like it could kind of be the scary part.
Well, it can be. And one of the things that a lot of us do, and I've done it too, is that we make the first step so huge.
Ah, okay.
Right. And so if we'll just say, for example, we'll just say you want to paint and you've never painted, and in second grade, you got a bad grade in your art class. And so you have this block, like, I can never be an artist. And isn't that crazy how powerful those things can be?
So funny. So Tish, if you're still on here, give us a thumbs up because we were just talking about this last week. Tish
Oh, wow.
has such a gift, and I told her to get her gift out there. I'm calling you out, Tish. And I was like, she has such a good gift, and I was saying, get it out there, girl. Get it out there, girl. And it was just, I don't know. I don't know the whole. You guys should connect because
Yes, Tiff, put it out there. People
yes,
need.
remember we were having about getting your gift out there, and there's different reasons why I pushed you a little harder, but I was just saying to her, get her gift out there. Yash is saying, is intuition the third voice?
I think of it as the higher voice.
The higher voice.
That's what I think of it as because, I'm Christian. So for me, I feel like the Holy Spirit talks to me through my intuition.
Uh-huh. That's good. The higher voice.
Yeah.
And Tish says, yep, she definitely knows that feeling. Girl, I remember Tish was on last week and she has just, and what's interesting, and I'm just talking about this because, she was on last week, so everybody knows her story. Her gift makes people happy.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, girl, make people happy, do it. And she's talented as well. So it makes people happy and she has talent. And it's just what you were saying, Audra, it's just getting that out there, right? And don't be afraid of what things,
Exactly.
are blocking, I think you mentioned. So that's interesting that we're having this full circle this week.
Yeah. And nothing, I can't think of a better feeling than seeing someone put their gifts out in the world and touch
Uh-huh.
how amazing is that? So yeah, please.
Yeah, get it out there. That's very interesting because, gosh, like, when I'm gonna step back later today and think of the thing, like maybe one thing. I don't need to think of them all at once, but maybe one or two things that, because this was kind of a thing, like I suppose, if I think about it, something that, how does this work? I see something that says question, but I don't know. Oh, Yash is asking another question. Does everyone have these gifts? Everyone have gifts?
I believe so. Yes. I
Okay.
believe that. Absolutely. For sure.
And someone says, hello, sweet Audra,
Hi,
CG,
Cindy.
and Peacock Balloons, which is Tish, says, thank you. Yes, everything being said. So,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. I mean, it's just, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting the way we, I'm trying to get the little, there we go. I think it's interesting the way we can look at our intuition. And like I was saying, I was saying, just to kind of maybe step back, like you said, and be quiet and listen to, what my intuition is saying.
Yes. Oh, but going back to what you said about making the action less scary, like if you make it very small, for example, with Tish, I don't know what her situation is, but maybe the first step is going to a local store and saying, do you ever accept, artwork from new artists? Or maybe it's even just saying, you know what, I'm going to make an intention to have 10 new paintings by the end of the year. Or just whatever feels right. And that's what, that's the kind of the stuff that we work on. But it's a lot of it is realizing that all the answers are within you if you take that time to relax.
Yeah.
And to know that, yeah, we're human. So we're going to feel the voice of this is different, this is scary. But it's nice to actually have someone that you're working with that can get you to focus on, well, what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. What's the word? Tish says, yeah, so smart. Tell them again, just while she's on, about your Elevate class.
Oh, okay. So the Elevate class, I've had a lot of people ask what the coaching is like. So it's a nice little free introduction because and we're not really coaching, but you get a feel for me and just it gives you a feel for what it might be like a little bit. But then we are going to have 11 tools that you can take with you to create more joy, success, and love right away. Because I feel like let's just put more of that out there in the world right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 7 to 8:30 p.m. this Friday night, February 11th. And the link to sign up is in my bio. So you can just sign up, and it's the Elevate 11 free webinar.
And is that East Coast time?
That is East Coast time.
That's East Coast time. Okay. So she's on the West Coast. That's what I was asked.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's so interesting. I mean, I like I said, I applaud you for, taking all the leaps that you have done, but I just think this is totally, totally something you're gifted at,
Thank you.
Like I said, you probably, coaching me in some sort of spirit of this before we actually knew, what it was, or we didn't name it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yash said he just followed you, and
thank you.
said she got it. She got your information. So,
Awesome.
Yay.
I
think it's amazing what you're doing and all that. Well, let me ask you, so it's so funny. So I always ask this question. Hello, R Buck 5. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Buchanan, maybe? R Buchanan? Hi. We're going to say hi. What's my gift? That's a really good.
Taryn, you have a ton of gifts.
You know what? What is my gift? I think I have a gift of, I don't know, like maybe giving is one of my gifts, but a gift of connection.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think I have the gift of connecting people. I think I have a spiritual gift. I just haven't really named it yet. I don't really know what that is. So that might be something to work with Audra on.
Oh, yeah, I would love, gosh, that would be a dream come true to get to work with you. But I just want to say that from the time I've known you, you bring out the joy in people. I mean, that is a huge gift.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I gotta tell my husband that. Bringing people together, through interviews. I just love bringing people together. I love the gift of connection. I love people. I'm a people lover. But what's interesting, Audra, and we're down to like 1 minute. is I need to make sure that while I'm loving people, I'm not so much worried about being the people pleaser. I like that you mentioned that, because that's a fine line, right?
Right.
Between
And
loving.
yes, and what I'll tell you is when I finally got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I crossed that line where I understood it and I grew in my emotional development, I could love people better because I wasn't a people pleaser. Because,
Yeah.
and this is a whole other show, but yeah, because really then you start to think, oh, it's a really pure love once you're doing it, just you're making sure it's not people pleasing.
It's a pure kind of love once you're kind of doing it from the right place, huh?
Yeah, and not that you were intentionally ever not, I wasn't not doing it from the right place. But when you shift that, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so much more powerful. You can connect so much more.
You weren't intentionally doing it from the wrong place, but now you're intentionally doing it from the right place,
Yes.
kind of thing, if you will.
And it's a win-win for everyone.
Audra, yes, says Tish. That she does, says Yash. Okay, so we are 1 minute over. Sorry, guys. This is such a great Audra. We're definitely going to have you back to continue this conversation.
Oh, thank you. I love that.
So one more question that I ask everybody at the end, and your Audra's a fan of fur babies too. Loves our fur babies. Check out my story for Miss Bendy Roo and her little. I loved your thing today. It was like when I call my best friend. There's Bendy.
Oh, yes.
Like, hello, best friend.
She really did that. She's just, because my son was like, did you have a treat? And I was like, no, I just called her over. It was so sweet.
She's so serious too about being there. So I have my little cats outside and have a little cat inside. So I always ask people at the end of every show, what are you curious about?
I love that question.
The curiosity, and the cats. Ooh.
I'm curious because now that we've had this conversation, I'm curious what new gift you are going to discover.
Me too. That's a good one, Audra. Me too. I feel like it's on the horizon, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I feel like it's close to like revealing itself.
I do. You're already so hugely gifted, but there's more.
Yeah, there's definitely more like I have to do. Like I think about it and I'm like, yeah, there's more there for you to do, Taryn. You just need to figure out what it is and how to, like we're talking about, kind of unleash it. Yash just asked, how does he discover his gifts?
Well, one thing, I actually did a post and in the Elevate 11 group, because when you join for the event, it's a group page. And I did a post that it's about how you discover your untapped talents. So check that out. But the short answer is this is one way. You can get really quiet and think of 5 people that you admire and jot down what their talents are and what their gifts are, and then visualize yourself just briefly doing what each one of them are having that gift. And take note of the one that sparks joy in your heart, and then just kind of explore that. And as you explore it by, say, buying paintbrushes or whatever it is, you may discover that it's a different gift than you initially thought, but it gets you started on the journey.
There you go, Yash. Boom, mic drop. So tell me one more time about your book.
Oh, okay. So the book is Behind the Power. The Allison Roberts and the other authors are phenomenal women, and just our stories. We just put our hearts and souls into this, just to say you're not alone to people that are struggling, and you come out even more powerful. And we're working on a new book actually. So, but this is fantastic, and you can get it on Amazon.
And your chapter?
My chapter is Permission to Shine.
Permission to Shine.
If you or anyone you know has ever dealt with depression and anxiety, please check it out. I'm very big on let's talk mental health, because it's in the stigma, suicide prevention, all that. So yeah.
And then where can they find you on social?
So on Instagram, I'm audra.zimple.elevated.life. And on Facebook, I'm Audra Sherman Zimple.
There you go.
And my
Bendy has her own page.
Oh, well, yeah, she needs her own page. I was just going to mention is audreysinfold.com. So it's easy. But Bindi, I have thought the same thing, Taryn. I need to start an Instagram page for Bindi.
Yeah, Max has his own, and he has 96 followers.
I love that.
I don't know who they are, but 96 of them. Well, I am going to let you go, and I'm going to thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for viewing, asking questions. I think we have other questions. Let me make sure we have other questions. I think we have everybody answered the questions. You are welcome, Tish. Totally. And Audrey, we're definitely going to have you back. I'm trying to collect where are they now, maybe the second half of this year.
Oh, nice.
Maybe you can come back at the end of the year and tell us how the classes you're working on and how the class went. And if you guys want to connect with Audrey, she just gave her information. If for some reason you're watching this later, you're going to watch this later, and you want to connect with Audrey, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll connect you with her. And Audra, I love you. I mean, I put seriously, I love you. Like that's what I put on the post. And I was like, and then I was telling my husband that you were going to be on the show. He was, oh yeah, Audra.
Tell him I said hello, and everyone that's watching, thank you so much. This has been so fun. Taryn, it's an honor to be here. I love you and I adore you, and I'm sending hugs and kisses through the phone.
See you again. Hopefully it's not going to be too, I mean, when I'm down there, I'm going to find you.
Yes, please stay with us.
Yeah, we will. Don't tempt us.
Oh, yeah.
You got some warmth. We don't have any warmth here right now.
Come stay with us for sure. We love that.
We love your family. I'm going to call you in just a second. I'm going to call you in just a second, and then we'll be back here next week, guys. 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for the TerranLamp Show. We are signing off. This is episode number 81. Goodness gracious. If you would like to sponsor a show, please get a hold of me. I'd love to have you sponsor a show. And if you know someone who should be on the show, which we all do, please make sure you get a hold of me. We are out of here. Everybody be good to yourself and each other. This is the TerranLamp Show. Bye-bye.
Bye.